Good morning to all. Today we are going to discuss testing conventional applications concepts. In testing conventional applications, we have number of concepts. In that, we are going to discuss first three concepts today. In those three, the first concept is software testing fundamentals, and the second concept is internal and external views of testing, and third concept is white box testing. So these are the three concepts today we are going to discuss. In that, the first one is software testing fundamentals. The basic fundamental of software testing is, and the main goal of testing is to find errors. That means we already discussed software testing means finding the errors in the programs. So that is the main goal of testing, to find errors, and a good testing is one that has high probability of finding an error. So basically software testing means finding the errors in the software. So therefore you should design and implement a computer based system or a product with testability in mind. That means when you are designing any software or implementing any system, computer based system or a product, it must be testable. That means it is suitable for finding the errors. That means it must be testable. So in that manner only we must design or implement any computer based product or system. Then here about testability, James Boch provided some definitions. So testability means software testability is simply how easily can be tested. That means what he suggested or defined about testability means a software testability is very simple, how easily it can be tested. So that means whenever you develop any project or any software, you must test it very simply and easily. In that manner you want to develop any software. So then only we can find out is there any errors in our software. So such a easily manner you want to develop that one. In such an easily manner you can test that one. So based on this testability, there are few characteristics are there for testable softwares. In that, there are 7 characteristics are defined for testable softwares. Those are first one operability, and second one observability, and third one controllability, and fourth one decomposability, and fifth one simplicity, and sixth one stability, and the seventh one understandability. So these are the 7 different characteristics are defined for testable softwares. In that, the first characteristic is operability. Operability means the better it works, the more efficiently it can be tested. That means how better you developed a software and how better it is working, based on that the more efficiently it can be tested. So based on its working, you can test it efficiently. If it works better, you can test it betterly. So both are interrelated. So that is nothing but operability. Nothing but better it works, the more efficiently it can be tested. Then the second characteristic is observability. Observability means what you see is what you test. That means whenever what you developed in your software, so that one you can test. So what you see in the software, that you can test. That is nothing but operability. What you see is what you test. That is nothing but operability characteristic. Then the third one is controllability. Controllability represents the better we can control the software, the more the testing can be automated and optimized. So this means the controllability characteristic says testability may be classified into mainly two types. One is manual testing and second one is automated testing. So manual testing means user or a tester manually develop the test cases and test the software. So everything done by the manually, that is comes under manual testing. And automated testing means based on the software what you developed and what you want to test, this you decided, that one is written as programmed and given to the computer system based on the code you designed for testing. It tests the software, that comes under automated testing. So when you automated the testing, you can control the software more easily. So that is the concept of controllability. Then the fourth one, decomposability. Decomposability means by controlling the scope of testing, we can more quickly isolate the problems and perform smarter retesting. That means by using the third characteristic, controllability, by the help of controllability, what we are doing, we are automating the testing. So by controllability, we can find out the problems very quickly. Due to that, we can perform smarter retesting also. So how fastly if you find out the errors, we can rectify them and we can test again also. That's nothing but decomposability. It says by controlling the scope of testing, we can more quickly isolate the problems and perform smarter retesting. So that is the concept of decomposability. Then the fifth one is simplicity. What the simplicity says, the less there is to test, the more quickly we can test it. The program should exhibit functional simplicity, structural simplicity and code simplicity. That means if you are tested more fastly means there is very less for testing. That means how it is possible means whenever a program is developed, it should exhibit the functional simplicity. What are the functions in the program? They are developed in a simple manner, and what is the structure the program follows? It must be more simple structure, and what is the code you developed? It must be a simple code. Then only you may test very less, and your testing is also more quickly. So that is nothing but simplicity. That means whatever you develop or tested, it must be simple. That is the concept of simplicity characteristics. Then the sixth characteristic is stability. So stability says the fewer the changes, the fewer the disruption to testing. That means whenever you developed a software or a program and if you tested for errors, it must be stable. If there is any changes you made in that software, then again you want to test that one. So whenever you changing the concepts in the software, all the time you need to test that one. That's why when you develop any program or software, it must be stable. That is the next characteristic, stability. Then the last characteristics in testability is understandability. Understandability says the more information we have, the smarter we will test. That means when you want to test a software means about that software, you must require more information. If you have more information, then you can test that software more smartly and you can find out more errors. So that is the concept of testability. So these are the 7 different testability characteristics. Those are the first one operability, second one observability, third one controllability, fourth one decomposability, and fifth one simplicity, and sixth one stability, and the last one nothing but seventh one understandability. So these are the testability characteristics. Then the next point is test characteristics. So Kanner, Falk and Newson suggested some attributes for a good test. So the below given 4 points are nothing but test characteristics. So these three persons suggested few attributes or characteristics for a good test. Those are nothing but the first point, the first characteristics about test is a good test has high probability of finding an error. Whenever you develop or design a good test, it may have high probability of finding errors. That is your first characteristics for test. Then the second characteristic is a good test is not redundant. That means a good test may not contain any duplicates. Then the third test characteristic is a good test should be best of breed. That means whatever the test you are designed, it must be a best one to find out all the errors in that software. So that is the third characteristics. Nothing but a good test should be best of breed. And the last characteristic about test characteristic is a good test should be neither too simple nor too complex. That means whatever the test cases or test design you are developed, it may be neither too simple or no or too complex. So these are the four different test characteristics for a good test. So this is the concept of software testing fundamentals. Then our second concept is internal and external views of testing. That means when you want to test a software, we have two views. One is internal view inside of the program and external view outside view of the program. So internal and external view of testing. We are testing the software in two different views. Any engineered product, that means any software is developed, we can test it in one of two ways. Either in internal testing may be conducted or external testing may be conducted. Any one of these two ways. So what are those two ways? In that first one, knowing the specified function that the product has been designed to perform. Test can be conducted that demonstrate each function is fully operable while at the same time searching for errors in each function. That means, so what are the functions we specified for that product are designed to perform for that product. Those all the functions are demonstrated it fully operable or fully testing. At the same time, we are searching for errors in each function. That means what are the functions are developed, whether they are operable or are operating in a right manner or not. Is there any errors to finding that one is the first way. Then second way is knowing the internal working of a product. That means how the loops are executing, how the conditional statements are executing, what are the structures inside of that, arrays are there, everything, the internal components of the product is testing. That is comes under internal working. So that is the second point. So the first point only test what are the functions are there, how they are working, is there any errors in that function. That is the outer structure of the program is tested in the first point. Then in the second point, the internal working of the product is tested. So these are those two ways. Then come to the next point is the first test approach. That means this one. The first test approach. That means this one takes an external view and is called as black box testing. So the first point will comes, the first test approach will also taken as an external view and this view will be called as black box testing. Then the second requires, that means this point will comes under internal view and it terms called as white box testing. So the first point comes under black box testing and the second point comes under white box testing. That means in black box testing we are testing only the external components and in the white box testing we are testing the internal components of the product. So in our upcoming videos, we'll discuss brief. We'll discuss about what is meant by black box testing and what is meant by white box testing. So this is the concept of internal and external views of testing. Then our third concept is white box testing. So white box testing, sometimes called glass box testing also. So for example, before entering into the concept of white box testing, we'll give a small example to you for white box testing. Already we said white box testing means it is nothing but internal view of testing. So that means we are testing what are the internal components of the product, all the loops, all the logical decisions, all the parts, all the internal structures, all the internal working of your software will be tested. So it is also called as internal view of testing, and it also represented as white box testing. White box testing is also sometimes called as glass box testing also. Why means, for example, if you take a glass of water, the glass is also a glass in that filled by water, pure water, clear water. When you see from one side, the opposite side will be clearly viewable. That means we can know what are the elements or particles in the glass clearly. That means internal components also we can view and we can test. So that's why we are calling this white box testing is also called in some time as glass box testing. So in this white box testing, when you are using this white box testing method, you can derive test cases for the below given points. So by using your white box testing, we are deriving some test cases. Those are nothing but first one, guarantee that all independent parts within a module has been exercised at least once. So this first point is the basic and important point in testing. That means what are the individual parts in the software, it must be guaranteed and execute at least once in the testing. That means whatever the parts are there, so whatever the formulas or whatever the code you have written in that, at least once you must be test that one in the software. That is the first point. Then second point is exercise all logical decisions on their true and false sides. That means conditions, statements, control statements, if condition, while condition, like that. Those are all called here as logical decisions. So whatever such type of logical decisions you are used in your program, you must test them either in true side and in false side. So both sides you must be tested. That is the second point. The third point is execute all loops at their boundaries and within their operable boundaries. That means if you used any loops, for loop, while loop, do while, etc., etc. So such type of loops also you must be tested up to their boundaries, and they within their boundaries also how they are operating, whether in the right format or not. You must test all the things. For example, so here the logical decisions means if conditions, if else, such type of conditions. So both from true and false side you must be tested, and in the loops means for loop, while loop, do while, all these boundaries you want to test. Then fourth point says exercise internal data structures to ensure their validity. So what about the internal structures are there? You must test all the internal structure also and to ensure their validity. So these are the concept of white box testing. So white box testing means nothing but also called glass box testing, and you must test what are the internal operability conditions are there, nothing but their independent parts and their logical decisions, nothing but if statements, etc., etc., and its loops, while loop, for loop, etc., and its internal structures, everything you want to test in white box testing. So these are the concepts we discussed in this video. Nothing but the first one, software testing fundamentals, and second one, internal and external views of testing, and the third one, white box testing. So based on these three concepts, here some assignment questions are given to you.